What's happening, everyone? We're here in Gros Morne National Park, all the way out east in Newfoundland, Canada. And what a better opportunity to share some tips on mobile photography and filmmaking than out here in nature. My plan today is to test out LG's latest masterpiece, their V30. This has been my go-to device since it was released. And this device actually took into consideration photography and filmmaking a lot more seriously. I'm stoked to be here. You guys excited? Let's go! The first thing I want to talk about when it comes to really trying to achieve the best results when it comes to mobile photography is really thinking about composition. Now, majority of mobile devices come with fixed optical focal lengths, and so do the lens attachments that you put on them. So one thing you have to really consider is that when you zoom in and out, you start to see pixelation in your images. Now, luckily with the V30, the main camera sensor is actually quite big at 16 megapixels. So I know the photos are going to turn out really crisp right out of the camera, even if I do decide to zoom in and out a little bit. But what's also really nice is that it actually has two lenses. So I can get both wide and tight angles, both of which are optical. So I won't actually see any pixelation from the transition. This makes composing my images or your images a much easier process without having to deal with many other accessories. Typically, unless you have some sort of snap-on attachment or lens attachment that you can apply to your mobile device, you're very limited in terms of depth of field. And that's okay if you're trying to get more flat profile image or video content, but say you want to achieve the most depth of field possible with dynamic range. What are your options then? Luckily, there's a solution. The V30 has a really nice wide aperture at f1.6, so it does give me a really nice depth of field even if I'm standing back a bit. Also, if that's not good enough, the secondary wide angle camera is 13 megapixels with an f1.9. which is also a great option for creating depth of field. And if that's not good enough, you also have a third camera on the front with 5 megapixels and an f2.2 aperture. Now that's a little bit darker out here in the national park, I want to talk a little bit about low light condition shooting, particularly focusing on mobile devices. Now, a lot of devices actually have limited features in terms of being able to manipulate the shutter speed, the aperture, or the ISO. So often you're left with a grainy image when you're shooting in conditions like this. In some cases, there are options to download apps that really allow you to change the settings on your camera. However, those do come with their own set of challenges. Thankfully, the V30 happens to have a ton of manual settings built in, and it even shoots raw photos, so it allows a lot in terms of editing afterwards. You can adjust the camera ISO, the shutter speed, the aperture, and many other features. This is great for capturing crisp photos during the nighttime. So luckily, nowadays, most mobile devices have some sort of video feature that allows you to change your frame rate. Sometimes even going to super slow motion at 120 frames per second. And luckily with the V30, you can actually go in and internally change the manual settings when you're shooting video. Not only are you changing your video quality, but your frames per second. So with the V30, you can change your video frame rate, the quality, and they've also gone one step further by adding in the scene setting that records video to a flat log profile. This allows you to maximize your sensor data and dynamic range, and then you can later on add color. Another great feature in this device is its ability to use focus peaking. This feature lets you see what you have in focus and easily allows you to adjust it as you shoot. The last feature that is definitely a big plus for the V30 is its video stabilization feature. Here are examples of how great this feature actually is. Oh, that was a good one. So we're about 8 hours away from catching our flight back to Toronto. and the beautiful sun's out. We've been dealing with the craziest weather conditions imaginable. It went from -8 to -25 so quickly with 50-kilometer winds. We really tested the limits when it came to using the V30 mobile device. And I'm really excited to be here all the way in Newfoundland. This is my first time this far east in Canada, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Always remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys all next week. Peace!